structures must only be built on cut and not filled plateaus, unless with written permission of the engineer. It is suggested that two teams be used simultaneously, one to manufacture the wall and roof panels, and the second team to prepare the platform and construct the foundations. First team operation. Mix Dura slurry powder with water in a big bucket and dip the bottom ends of the wall panels approximately 200 mm deep into the slurry. This is to provide damp proofing. Mix 1 part of cement to 2 parts river sand to 3 parts 13 mm stone with sufficient water into porridge consistency. Lay panels onto a relatively flat surface. Place bottom reinforcing rod into the rib former in the panel on 3 number 10 mm polystyrene cover blocks. Place masonite end closure to rib. Pour concrete into the rib former and compact. Place top rod with projecting bar stayed vertically, which will be cast into the floor slab. Float ribs using a wood float to produce a rough finish. The next day, place panels onto a stack. Where poly roof slabs are specified, repeat the procedure as for wall panels, but use welded lattice reinforcement in the ribs. Second team operation. Accurately level the plateau on which the structure is to be built. Dig footings as specified on the drawing immediately below the plateau. Please note that the foundations were dug too deep in this footage. Also, the spoil from the excavation should not be placed on the inside but on the outside of the structure. Place the reinforcement into the bottom of foundation trench on 30 mm poly cover blocks. Set stakes to center line of the foundation. Pour 70 mm thick concrete of 1 part cement, 2 parts river sand, 3 parts stone in the foundation trenches. String a line between the stakes to accurately position the poly slot former. Then complete the concreting of the foundations. When concrete has set sufficiently, remove the poly slot former. Commence erection of the wall panels from a corner as marked on the drawing and proceed sequentially around the exterior perimeter of the structure, including all window and door frames. Timber door posts must have 2 number 150 mm long nails driven into the underside to project the depth of the floor slab and will be cast into the floor slab. If there are internal walls, erect these sequentially, including door frames. And poison the soil under the surface bed slab. Place USB green polythene sheeting before pouring the slab. Place electrical conduiting to plug points, switches and lights in grooves formed in the polystyrene. Mix concrete of 1 cement to 2 river sand to 3 stone and compact to the specified floor thickness. With a higher concrete strength, one does not require reinforcing in the slab. Float concrete to a smooth finish. Prepare polystyrene surfaces to wall panels by vigorously scrubbing horizontally using a wire brush. Then use rhino tape over all panel joints. Place 4 mm galvanized iron L-shaped 200 mm by 200 mm long corner reinforcement at 300 mm centers on all external faces of corners. Apply water cement slurry onto the polystyrene using a block brush. Apply ferrocement plaster of 1 part cement, 1 part sifted plaster sand and 2 parts clean river sand to the specified thickness, minimum 10 mm. Lintels. The lintel formers can be assembled on the ground. Threaded bars are pushed through the one side of the polylintel former, through a conduit spacer, and through the other side at 300 mm horizontally and vertically centers, starting from the top of the lintel. Place reinforcement in lintels. In the case of the poly roof slab, position the vertical reinforcement rods into the lintel cavity, with the end projecting above the lintel former. Fill lintels with concrete of 1 part cement, 2 parts river sand, 3 parts stone, and compact. Place anchor bolts through door and window frames into the concrete core of the lintels. Window frames to also be anchor bolted to the concrete ribs of the wall panels below the windows. Plaster the lintels as described for wall panels and form a V-joint at the intersection with the wall plaster. Poly roof slabs. The flat roof. Erect the prefabricated roof panels as indicated on the drawing on temporary supports and place the transverse topping reinforcement. Place electrical conduiting for light points in the topping. Place specified polystyrene copings around the edges of the roof slab and secure them with wire ties to reinforcement projecting from the ribs. In the case where the roof is to be used as a reservoir, position the outlet pipe as per drawing. Concrete the roof topping to the specified thickness using 1 cement, 2 river sand, 3 stone mix, and float. Apply waterproofing to specification. Poly roof pitched. Place the prefabricated roof panels to the specified pitch with lower end supported on the lintels and the other end on the temporary supports at the ridge and intermediate temporary supports where specified. Place a transverse topping reinforcement. Position electrical conduiting for light points in the topping. Form 100 mm wide concrete stop ends around the perimeter, and the following day pour the concrete topping to the specified thickness using 1 cement, 2 river sand, 3 stone, and float. Apply waterproofing to specification. If a tiled or sheeted roof is specified, 4 mm galvanized wire ties must be cast into the concrete core of the lintels to coincide with the timber members to the roof framework.